Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm not sure if this is going to be a podcast or just a YouTube video. It kind of depends how long it goes. I just have a couple of things I'm going to talk about, but sometimes I get talking and you can't shut me up. So we'll see. Just want to talk about the Marine Corps Special Operations Sniper course that I was working at for 2 weeks out in Utah. The Marine Corps for a very long time were synonymous with snipers. Like Carlos Hathcock, and they were the only service that had a sniper being a job, a MOS, a military occupation specialty, right? Everywhere else, it's kind of an additional skill to include the Army. Like Army infantry snipers are infantrymen. They're 11 Bravos. Special operations snipers is an additional task. They're 18 deltas, they're medics, they're engineers, they're communications guys, they're weapons guys, and they have an additional skill of being a sniper. But the Marine Corps had it as a job, and they were very, very good at it. I remember seeing one of two Marines win the international sniper competition in '09, I think, with two bolt guns, and they crushed everybody. And it was just pure skill. But then everybody else evolved, and the Marine Corps kind of stagnated for a little while. They were sitting there with their M40 bolt guns and their optics and mil dots, and kind of everybody else surpassed them. But being down at that MARSOC course, MARSOC is the Marine Corps Special Operations Unit. Being down there and seeing the level of skill of these guys, it was awesome. It was shockingly awesome. They were near the end of the course. They only run a couple of courses a year, and they have Marine Corps active duty instructor mostly, and they bring in a few contractors. And contractors like me bring in experience, basically, right? It's great to teach urban hides, rural hides, vehicle hides, but if you've actually done it in combat and done it many, many, many times, you bring a whole different level to the instruction. There was another contractor there taught a class on counter sniper and has actually done counter sniper stuff in Afghanistan against a sniper. I've done counter sniper too, but it was in an urban environment. So that's why they bring in contractors to bring that level of experience and augment. And it's actually really, really smart. But the course, we were in Dugway Proving Grounds. It's west of Salt Lake City, and I've always been aware of it, but I've never been out there. It's a massive place. It's huge. It's desert, mountainous, and I don't know what the square mileage is, but it's bigger than Rhode Island. They do B-52 bombing runs out. They do all kinds of stuff. It's very, very heavily restricted where you can go, and it reminded me of Area 51 in Nevada, where the aliens are. I went there in 2005 and I did a UAV pilots course, flying UAVs for a couple of weeks. And we were very, very strictly controlled. Like the Area 51, they've done nuclear tests there back in the 50s. We actually went to the site where they did an underground nuclear detonation. We weren't allowed to get off the road in most places. Everywhere we went, like we'd go set up a kind of base of operations with our vehicles, and we'd launch our drones and fly them around. And they had Department of Energy contractors. It's like something in a movie. They had camouflage Chevy pickup trucks and beards and long hair, and they sat off at a distance and watched everything we did. So we wouldn't do anything we weren't supposed to do. It was kind of like that in Dugway. Very strictly controlled where you can go, and a lot of security there. But we went out there. We shot, the first week we shot long range, and then the second week we shot extreme long range. Now, in my head, long range, like short range is out to 300 yards, right, meters. Long range is out to 1,000, and extreme long range is anything beyond that. That's not an official thing, it's kind of how I look at it. The first week they were doing great. They were shooting the long range stuff. And then the second week, the first 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we hiked up to the top of this mountain every single day. The Marine Corps don't half-ass shit, man, I tell you. And they shot extreme long range. And it was funny because I said to one of the other contractors he's been around the sniper game a long time, Marine Corps. I said, the standard has changed when a student misses a 1,400 meter shot on a 20-degree down angle, shooting off a backpack in high wind, and he's mad because he missed, right? I'm like, damn, dude, you don't even know. Now the gear has gotten better, of course. However, the standard of instruction and the capability of the instructors and has grown exponentially, because I've been away from the military sniper stuff for a couple of years, and it was great to get out there, get back in that atmosphere. And it's not just the shooting; it's the hides and the craft of being a sniper, the stalking, all that piece that goes with it, that most people don't really know much about. I got to sit through a few classes people were teaching, and I got to help out, instruct, and help these young snipers. The attitude of the instructors was phenomenal. It was very friendly. They were like 8 weeks into this class when I got out there. I think 7 or 8. The instructors' first name terms are all the students. All the students just bust their ass every day. There's no problems. They understand what a privilege it is to go to a school like this. But the standard, they were shooting from a mountaintop. They were shooting moving targets at 900 meters on a 20-degree down angle off a backpack in tricky wind. That's insane. That is awesome. And they're shooting 300 Win Mags. When they get the 300 Norma, the Mark 22s, the Barrett MRAD, they're just going to be crushing it. And it's great to see. It's great to see the craft evolve. However, the short-sighted people in the Marine Corps have taken away the Marine Corps Scout Sniper School, right? So it will no longer be an MOS, and they've shut it down. There's one more class and they're done. That is happening, and I guess they think it's not relevant anymore, but it's more relevant than it's ever been because of the better training, because of the technology, because of the equipment. Now a 1 mile shot for a special operations sniper is absolutely doable, right? And I've been up against people in combat who were not even trained snipers. They were shooting a scoped rifle from the back of a car, and it is very hard to deal with. It's very hard to catch them. It's very hard to kind of mitigate the risk. We were out doing that. I think I told this when I was doing the podcast, but we were out doing a counter sniper op one time with the infantry in Mosul. And we were running Indige in civilian clothes and civilian cars around as part of this big operation we were trying to do. And one of the guys on my team was on the back of the Striker with the air guard hatch up, right, standing up in the back of the Striker with an infantry guy. And they were coming back in. The op was over. And as they're coming back in the gate, the infantry soldier next to him, he felt his weapon and he thought it went off. He said, "Oh, my weapon went off." And he looked down, the dust cover was closed on his M4. What had happened, the sniper's bullet had struck his gun on the back of the vehicle on the way in through the gate. So snipers are absolutely relevant. They probably will always be relevant because they're a devastating force and a force multiplier, and it's terribly short-sighted for the Marine Corps to shut it down. And I'm sure in a couple of years they'll probably start it back up again. But no officer ever got a bullet on his evaluation report that said kept everything excellent, kept everything the same because it was working. We have this tendency in the US military across every service to change things just for the sake of changing them so you can build your legacy, and it's very, very devastating. Absolutely phenomenal course, great instructors, both active duty and contractors, great students, highly motivated. It was so great to be among that community again. I haven't worked with Marine Corps much. I worked with them in 2004 very, very early on, but I haven't really done much with them. But it's the Marine Corps, right? Very high standards. And MARSOC came late to the game in special operations. The Marine Corps had Force Recon for years, but they weren't part of SOCOM, right? But when they got MARSOC stood up, and they had a few problems initially because guys could only go there for a couple of years and then they had to go back to the Marine Corps and all that kind of thing. And they've seemed to have sorted all that stuff out, and they're really, really building their place within the SOCOM community and really getting known as a very professional organization with hard workers and high standards, and good for them. It was a privilege for me to go work with them and help them out, and I look forward to going again. All right. The Zoom call stuff we've been doing, I've done a bunch. I've done like 8 or 10 different people who've done between 2 and 4 hours on Zoom, and I sit down and do ballistics with them. I do wind, I do Kestrel, I run a simulator and show them how to do all that, and they find it very, very beneficial. And some of them are coming down to North Carolina to do private training. Once they've done all the classroom stuff on Zoom, they're coming down. The next step is to do that. So looking forward to that. It's a lot of fun. Running a couple of long range courses. I got one coming up in North Carolina in Maxton next weekend, and then I have one in Tennessee in July, and then I think we just posted another 2-day course in August in North Carolina in Maxton, right? Some of the ways I've been able to do stuff, like utilize training facilities that are around here, it's because of personal relationships with people and quite frankly, my reputation, right? Because people are willing to work with me. So Griffin Group, which is now known as Raven Advisory Group, is one of those big organizations that are willing to let me use, quite frankly, what is a special operations training base. We're using it for a long gun course. They have targets out to 2,400 meters, right? We're not going to utilize that. We don't need it, but we're going to shoot out to 1,000. State-of-the-art classroom for one day, and then we'll go out to the range. I was out there the other day. They have platforms we can shoot off. They have targets every 100 meters out to 1,000. We will build our data, we'll zero chrono, do all that normal stuff. And then once we start crushing those targets, we'll get up into alternate position, we'll shoot off backpacks, we'll shoot sitting, and I'll challenge you. It's going to be really, really cool. The other thing I do at Griffin Group is vehicle dynamics, which will post today, which is Saturday. So by the time you get this, it'll be posted. Vehicle dynamics is something I've wanted to do before, but it's so difficult to do it. This is Kirsten's course, but what that entails is, and again, Griffin Group are letting me use their facility and their vehicles and their driving track and all that kind of stuff. So we spend so much time in our cars. We should be able to get out of trouble and avoid stuff in our cars, right? There's so much road rage that goes on in this country. It's ridiculous. And people get into gunfights and get run off the road and all kinds of stuff. Totally unnecessary. Avoid if possible. Now, if some jackass runs you off the road, you got to deal with it, right? You got to take care of business. But until then, avoid, right? So vehicle dynamics basically will be classroom in the morning, and the classroom we will cover a little bit of mindset, not crazy, freaking sympathetic and parasympathetic. We're not doing that. We're doing just how fear and adrenaline and stress manifest on the body, right? The tunnel vision, the fine motor skills go away, and how to mitigate that and kind of pull you out of that piece. And then we'll talk about the law. And Kirsten was a cop, so she's going to talk about the law, how Castle Doctrine applies to your car. We look at a bunch of videos of road rage incidents that they're all over the internet. We'll discuss them. We'll talk about, we want you to be very legal in what you do, but you don't have to wait until somebody freaking reaches into your car and snatches the life out of you before you do something about it, right? But we want you to make sound decisions based on the law to protect yourself. That'll be the morning. There's a couple other things about controlling vehicles and how vehicle weight distribution and stuff like that. But we'll do lunch, and in the afternoon, it's a 12-person course. We'll take the class out to the driving track, and we'll split you into 2 groups of 6. So we have small groups. Half will do scenarios that are based around your car, right? We'll have simunitions, and we'll have a guy in a blower suit and, creepy guy coming up with a gas pump and harassing you, road rage incident, carjacking, stuff like that. And everybody will run through a scenario with a role player, and you will get to make that split-second decision to save your own life or talk yourself down, right? Not everything needs to be a gunfight. While 6 people are doing that, the other 6 will go drive. They will do... There's a high-speed maneuver course out there where you will drive really, really fast, and it's designed to show you everything you'll come up against. It's backing away quickly. It's tight turns in a what do you call that thing where you go through the thing, whatever you call that, the zigzag thing. Man, I'm gone blank. But I did it the other day. I've done it. I did this course in 2005 when Griffin Group at the time was in Florida, and it was awesome. They actually did some stuff that we're not going to do, but when we were down there, we did. They had 2 vehicles, and I was driving, and there was three other guys from my team in the lead vehicle, and they chased us, and both vehicles had no windows, and they tried to pit us, and they were shooting at us with paintball rounds the whole freaking time, and we had to avoid them, right? And people trying to run you off the road. When we got to the end, we had to jump out and pick up a 200-pound dummy and run him all the way to the end through there was all these buildings and kind of barricades and stuff, and I was the smallest on the team, which was pretty common, but I was probably the fittest. So I was like, I'll do it. So I threw this guy up on my back, and they said nobody had ever reached the end without getting hit, right, with a paint round. And so when we broke out of the vehicle, I grabbed the dummy and threw him up over my back on a fireman's carry. The other three guys gave covering fire while these guys were trying to kill us. So I throw that 200-pound dummy on my back, and I'm zigging and zagging and duking and waving, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not getting hit. And I get all the way to the end, and I was like, I made it. And I dropped the dummy on the ground, and there's like 30 rounds in his back. I used him as body armor. So I made it, but my buddy didn't. Sorry, bud. Great course, phenomenal course. You should know how to drive, and if you're in the military and you haven't gone to a driving course like this, you really should, especially if you're in Bragg. You're always going to be overseas, and you often drive. The scariest place I've ever driven in my life is Amman, Jordan. Absolute chaos. Nobody follows the rules. Apparently, to make a right turn, you have to be in the left lane, and absolutely crazy. And, if you're an American military person, you're a target in almost every country in the world. You just are. So you should know how to drive. But the civilian course we'll do that high-speed driving course. Everybody will do that. And then we'll do, we'll show you how to ram vehicles out of the way. We'll do kind of a pit maneuver resistance. If the instructor's going to come and try to pit you off, you'll be in the lead car driving, they'll try to hit you on the rear and run you off the road, and we'll show you how to counter resist that and get away. We'll do threshold braking, we'll do high speed steering, we'll do backing away really, really quickly out of a thing. We won't do J-turn, because J-turn we could do it, I guess, but if you do it wrong, you're going to disable your vehicle, right? You're going to spin it at the wrong time, and it looks cool in the movies, but it's very hard to spin that thing in the street. You're better off to just back away as far as you can and do a controlled turn. But David was a police officer for years, and he runs all the training out for the driver stuff, and he's a phenomenal instructor. And it's going to be a really cool course. When I did it, it's cost me a lot of money to do this, right? Obviously, their vehicles, get damaged, and they're tracking all this. And I was looking at pricing it out, and that's why I'm terrible at this job. But I didn't want it to be a course that only wealthy people can go to. So I made it $500 for the course, which is about as low as I could make it. Great Father's Day gift for your dad or your husband or somebody who's got everything. Gonna be a great course. Anyway, you can go to ravenadvisorygroup.com and you can check out some of the stuff they've got going on. Well, we got some hats and t-shirts in, which is cool. So go to the website and buy those. I was going to do a caffeine and questions, but I forgot to ask, hey, ask me a question. And, I get a lot of gun questions. I have a lot of other experience, but I guess that this is my thing. The sniper thing is my thing. 2 questions I got last time that I forgot to answer. Somebody asked me what the best sniper rifle of World War II was. Now, a purely opinion-based, right? And I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me, but if you do a lot of reading about it, the Russian Mosin-Nagant, which is that one there, but a longer version with the scope. Obviously, that's a cavalry version that's behind me. I don't even know if you can see it. The Mosin-Nagant 1891 or something is widely considered to be the best sniper rifle of the war. That's what I've read. May or may not have been. Wars tend to develop, equipment very, very rapidly. But when you think about it, 1891, the thing was 50 years old by the time the war started. They, of course, upgraded it. The Finnish had an upgraded version of that, and they put that 4-power scope on it. I want to get a 4-power scope for that thing. I want to zero it, chrono it, run it through a ballistic computer, and see how far I can shoot it out to. But I haven't gotten around to it yet. A lot of people put comments in below if you have other things. Something I thought of just because of that question. I did a podcast with Sean Kirkwood a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about the evolution of military equipment over our careers. I want to talk to Sean because he's a very knowledgeable guy. When I talked about the evolution of sniper gear, sniper equipment, and weapons and optics and all that thing over like since the Civil War is when telescopic optics really came out first. So you could say that's the first snipers. I know that Revolutionary War, you had sharpshooters shooting at long distance. But I think that'd be a good podcast. I think we'll sit down and we'll get some photographs and throw it up there for the YouTube. And then another question I had about snipers was, what's a sniper myth that they get wrong, right? The movies always get things wrong, obviously. Movies are there to put asses in seats and keep you there. So they're completely fictional, mostly, right? I've never seen a good sniper movie. The one I love most is the stalking thing, right? And if you are a sniper and you are all gillied up head to toe and you are crawling really, really slowly into a position to take a shot, how do you get out? Right? How do you escape? Unless you're a suicide guy, then you have no way of breaking contact out of that area if you take a shot. Snipers mostly do reconnaissance anyway. They don't shoot that much. But if you need a covered route into your position so you can have a covered route out, so you can break contact, right? I'm not doing this here crawling for 7 hours to get into a position to shoot. I'll just shoot from further away or not at all. But that's a great one. I love that one. This is a short video, guys. I just felt like I wanted to catch you guys up and let you know how the Marine Corps thing went. I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate you guys. If you haven't liked and subscribed, I hate saying this because everybody says it, but I looked at analytics on YouTube and half the people who watch my videos have not subscribed. So if you could subscribe, that would be great. And lots more to come. I promised people who subscribe to the website that I would do a free class. I don't know what to do. Hit me up in the comments. Tell me what you want me to do. I'll do a 30-40 minute class on something for you guys. Just something free, and I'll make it a private YouTube video and just send you a link. The newsletter went out, a bunch of stuff on it, and we're just working away, getting stuff done, and having a good time. All right, till next time, guys. Thank you so much.